minutes into the game, and he managed his butt off. But I'm saying this all the time. When Johnny Manziel came out, I'm like, you're going to give the keys to your franchise to Johnny Manziel, who's getting drunk on inflatable swans, who's giving you the money sign? That's who you're going to give the face of your franchise money to. I'm going to give it to Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz, grown-ups. Listen, here's the way it works when you're a parent. When you are a parent and you leave for the weekend and you got a couple of kids, you don't love the kids differently. As a parent, you love them equally. But you trust always one of them more. If Odell Beckham and Aaron Judge were brothers and their parents left for the weekend, I can assure you they'd give the money and the keys to the house to Aaron Judge because they could trust him. And they would say, Aaron, don't let Odell get in trouble. See, years ago, I heard a woman say this, and I've never forgot it. We want to date and marry men, not boys, not kids, not teenagers. In the end, we want to marry men. Responsible, mature. I know it's not cool. I know it's not hip. I know Aaron Judge isn't flashy, doesn't want to be an icon. But here's who Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees, compared him to in May. Listen here.
He's a little bit like Derek to me. He's got a smile all the time. He loves to play the game. You always think that he's going to do the right thing on the field and off the field. When you look at him, he's got a presence about him. He plays the game to win all the time, and that's the most important thing. It's not about what you did that day. And that's what I see from this kid. And I see him doing things the right way, on the field and off the field. And that's the way Derek was as well when he's young.
And that's the way Brady is and Joe Montana is, and nobody's saying they don't party, and nobody's saying they're perfect, and nobody is saying they're the moral kings of a city. But if you want face of the franchise lettuce, then you got to show me some face of the franchise maturity. And all Aaron Judge does is go out and chop wood every day. I'm going to take that guy over the guy marrying a wedding net. And the guy marrying the wedding net is super talented, and I'm not denying that. But you want keys to the city? You want keys to the franchise? You want me to commit to 7 years? I'm a parent. I know who I give the money to when I leave the house. Baseball's back in New York, and they've got their Jeter. He's just 6'7", 280, and here's what baseball in October sounds like in New York City.
Swung on and line to deep left field. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Aaron Judge hit a line drive, home run to left. A Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the Judge. Another Judgment Day. Aaron Judge.
As cheesy as that is as great as it was. There's something about college basketball and playoff baseball. We can ignore them for most of the year, but the minute they arrive, there is nothing better than baseball in New York in October, and they've got their Jeter. And I'll take it every time. I'm not interested in the flash. We now have a culture that celebrates silliness and immaturity. Sorry, I'll take that. All right, so let's segue to this. Every year at this time, the NBA, you go to NBA.com, has their general manager survey. And I talk about not only the survey, but a category every year. So the NBA general managers, they can't vote for their own players and team. They have a survey, and it comes out every year at this time. This is also known as the survey called NBA GMs apparently don't watch that much basketball. So there's 4 or 5 things they vote on. Who's going to win the MVP? Who's going to make the finals? Who's going to win Rookie of the Year? But I always go to one category every year. They ask a question on NBA.com, the GM survey. If you were starting a franchise today and could sign any player in the NBA, who would it be? A year ago, last year at this time, we talked about this. So this year, it's Karl Anthony Towns, who has never made the playoffs, 29%. And the Greek Freak, who's never won a playoff series, at 21%. Then it's LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, and Kevin Durant, who was the MVP of the finals, 11%. Okay. But at the bottom of the screen, I want you to notice something. Also receiving votes, Steph Curry. Well, how grand of you. Hey, everybody, did you hear that Steph Curry, a two-time MVP, whose playoff record in the last 3 years is 43-13, he also got votes. Do you realize in the college football poll this weekend, Navy and Troy also got votes? Do you realize that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame recently had an induction ceremony? Pearl Jam got inducted. Kraftwerk, a Swedish band, got votes. NBA general managers, if they were starting a franchise, a couple of them, now think about this. He's the fastest scorer in league history. He breaks his, only Wilt Chamberlain and Steph Curry literally every year break their own record. His playoff record is 43-13. His skill is based on one that will not deteriorate with age. Big guys fall apart. Little guys don't. He is the smartest player, arguably, in league history. He is, without ego for his greatness, recruiting Kevin Durant. He is the best ball handler in the NBA. And NBA general managers went with bigs who haven't won a playoff series. Steph Curry also got votes. Could I remind you, in the presidential election, kooky Ron Paul also received votes. Yeah, I'm not going to give the best shooter shooting a shot that's transformed the game, the best ball handler, the most unselfish, authentic star in the game, who is incredibly coachable and has the self-esteem that he'll go recruit potentially a better player, will give up shots, had an off year last year and still shot 41.5% with threes. He's now a Swedish band, Ron Paul. He is an honorable mention, also getting votes in the college football poll. He's Troy football. General managers, you do watch the game. You do realize now that bigs don't win titles. You do realize without the hand check, point guards now dominate the floor, dominate the game, become MVPs, like quarterbacks, take all the snaps, control the tempo. Who are the people controlling this league? Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry. But outside of LeBron James, even a very talented wing Anthony Davis, a big Kawhi Leonard, they're not doing anything. Steph Curry got votes? Votes.
I'm just happy that you didn't say LeBron deserves all the votes, because I think that's what you said last year.
No.
But the question is, who would you want to build a team around?
Steph Curry.
And
before.
I think Steph Curry is great, but he's 29 years old. Karl Anthony Towns is 21.
Okay, let me ask you.
And that's the question, to build. So
Okay.
long-term building, you do want to build around a young guy. And you also want a sure thing.
I don't want to build around a young center. It's no longer a center's league. They don't even make the playoffs. Steph is a sure thing for the next 5 years. He's a sure thing.
But that, I don't know that that could be considered building. Like,
If I said to you, we're going to build this network, you do get that Skip Bayless and I and most of us here, a lot of these guys, we're all over 50.
yes, but you don't have to worry about your aging, deteriorating body.
I do about
Just
my
your
eyes and my
voice.
ears and my hair that changes color, and I'm falling apart too. Listen,
No.
I am an hour and a half from my prostate falling out of my pants. I mean, all I'm saying is, I don't care how old Steph Curry is. Steph Curry does something, 3-pointers. Kobe Bryant scored 60 points in his last game. And you're going to give it to centers? This league is not Dwight Howard couldn't win a series. This league is now controlled by point guards. He's the best one in terms of ball handling, lack of ego, self-awareness, shooting threes. He got votes? Sheesh. All right. Yeah, did you hear that, Christine?
What?
Steph Curry's dad played till he was 38, and he's not as good
And
as his...
that's totally fine. But if you're going to start from scratch and build around someone, you want a young, sure thing player. Point guards have been very hard to figure out.
Really?
Derrick Rose was supposed to be the greatest point guard, and look at him now.
I'll tell you who's hard to figure out. Kooky, airheaded centers. Kwame
Did you
Brown.
just call him an airhead?
No, Dwight Howard, airhead.
Well, you can't lump every
No.
center into a category.
Been a
because of
lot
Dwight
more
Howard.
center busts in the last 20 years than point guard busts.
I don't know that that's true.
That's completely true. Centers, if you're 7 feet in the 8th grade, don't think it screws with you psychologically? Of course it does. That's why Kwame Brown, flake. Andrew Bynum, flake.
And
Shaq, kind of flaky.
If you're the point guard where everything runs through you and you have a lot of pressure on you, don't you think that messes with you psychologically?
No, I think you make a lot of money, shoe deals.
Doesn't that mess with you psychologically?
No, point guards run this league. They just do. Point guards and wings. NBA GMs. All right, coming up. Okay. He's telling us. He's giving us signals. He's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's got 2 Super Bowls. Why isn't anybody listening? Why isn't anybody listening to what Big Ben is saying? If it's not a cry for help, it's a cry for something. He keeps talking and nobody's listening, and he's clearly directing it at one person. And he's right. But first, before I got my Casper mattress, you know I was not a great sleeper. Am now.